This is not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger. Oh, finally a trigger. Not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger. Finally a trigger, and not a trigger. Hey, how's it going? Andrew here today with another video. Today we're going to move away from the digital game and we're going to take a step back into the TCG. So, as some of you may know, if you're closer with me, I did take a break from the TCG for quite a while between the G era and the reboot. And I came back for the reboot because, well, you have your PBDs and they're back and they're great. But one reason why I took a break was because of cheating. Now, I don't know how prevalent cheating is in your respective communities. I mean, it really could depend on your culture or your locals. But from where I was playing Cardfight Vanguard in Hong Kong, I did experience, quite a few games with cheaters, whether it's at a regional level or just like a local level. Even if it's just casual play, some people do take it to such extremes, which I felt like it was not very pleasing. Of course, a lot of these could be just, blatant allegations. I can't prove it, especially right now. But there are some things that you can assume. So today I will show you, some clips. Yes, from different angles and different, it's the same method, but different angles of how I replicated how someone I've seen cheat. And if you can figure it out, I think that's, props to you, because I found it really difficult to figure it out myself. I will not use any of these methods myself because I don't think that's, the spirit of the game or any game in general. But, there are cheaters out there, and it is one reason why I took a break from it. I have to say that, there are multitudes of ways to cheat, and if you do need to or want to cheat, there's definite ways. Bushiroad does not penalize cheating enough, or to a great enough extent. We do have some records of cheating, and it's really, really dumb ways of cheating that somehow passes through multiple rounds. And I think that's just one issue. But as of right now, because we are under COVID conditions, I am more comfortable with sharing some of these thoughts and opinions and methods with you guys, because I know that there's no direct impact towards any tournament or local play at the moment, and we all have some time to think about it and digest what I'm going to show you next. So for this part of the video, I'll show you from this perspective, from my perspective, how I will cheat. First of all, shuffle the deck. I'll show you that the deck is properly sleeved. There's nothing wrong with the sleeves itself. You cannot see anything tampered with on the sides as well. I mean, there's a little glare, but that has nothing to do with the mechanism behind it. So I'm just gonna show you really quickly that I can tell if it's a trigger or not. This is not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger. Oh, finally a trigger. Not a trigger, not a trigger, not a trigger. Finally a trigger, and not a trigger. So I mean, if you want me to show you one more, it's not a trigger here, not a trigger, not a trigger, and trigger, trigger. And this is getting a bit tiring, but in an actual game, your opponent won't declare this to you, so this is something that you should be prepared for. So let's assume you're playing a game of Cardfight Vanguard. You have a shuffled deck. The sleeves are all the same. There's no different types of sleeves or anything. There's no markings with pens or whatever. You can't really see anything here, or here. Cards, they're cards. You won't see the front side anyways, so that doesn't matter. Let's give it a nice shuffle. Give it a nice cut. All right, so I cut until the first card is not a trigger, not a trigger, trigger, not a trigger, and trigger. So, you're gonna mulligan away this hand. You want some grade 3s, at least you're not grade stuck. Get rid of the triggers. The next card is unfortunately a trigger, but we're grade stuck, so no choice. And then the next card is a non-trigger. Okay, so let's start the turn. For example, I go first, I draw a trigger. Let's ride Claudius. Draw a non-trigger. All right, nice. All right, in the main. Because the next card is a non-trigger, then I'm more incentivized to use my domain, right? All right, Now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent, you know, for example, set up 2 rearguard lanes. I know my first card on the top of the deck is a trigger, so I'm gonna no guard it. Oh, crit trigger, nice. The next card is also a trigger, so you know I could back on a heal, I could guard with it. I don't want to really draw into it, so maybe I'll just take it. You know, draw a trigger. That's pretty good. So it's my turn, stand and draw. All right, Ryan Maka. Do I use Namae first or Maka first? I know the next card is non-trigger, so I will use Maka first. Flips. The next card is a trigger, and I don't, and I could consider draft checking it, but you know, Namae is just too high value, right? So you gotta do your little Namae to trigger. And then my next card is a non-trigger, so I might consider playing the Swordbreaker to draw into it. Next card's a trigger, so that's great. So 11k, might swing rear guard, you know, 10k, oh that's 15k actually, and this is 20k. I hit a trigger, and then, you know, I'm pretty happy. So overall, I mean, I think this is a fair enough demonstration that, you know, you can check the deck as well, you know, you can check the drop zone and everything. Look, like there isn't any significant markings. I don't think you can actually notice it when you're under, you know, the pressure of a match or casually, you know, you won't care enough to notice this. Even, you know, just checking everything again, no significant differences. I am not pulling anything out of the screen, and this is one take. So anyways, I guess that's it. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the 2 different clips. One from, you know, my angle, you know, seeing whether or not the top card is a trigger or not, and then from the opponent's angle, you know, whether when you're in gameplay, you know, whether or not this actually affects game, you know, your actual strategy, you know, and you can see, you know, whether I choose to proc the main or not. When I choose to proc Maka and my draw skills, it definitely does change up how the game works. But again, you know, again, a disclaimer would be, you know, I will never use, you know, any of these cheating techniques in an actual game. I did use this deck for regionals, but I did not consider doing this kind of video or have these kind of thoughts back then. But because of my experiences, I do feel like it is important to address this. You know. So I guess since you've seen how it actually works, you can zoom in. I will just show you again that these cards. Let me cut into a trigger and a non-trigger. So this is a trigger. Sorry, I got them mixed around. Trigger here, yes. So, as you can see, you know, the sleeves are, you know, completely the same. There are no broken edges, right? You know, the outer sleeves are completely the same. Outside of the fact that it's a bit dirty, but you know, you can't really avoid that. This is a really old deck. If you were to do this, you know, properly, more professionally, I'm sure you can get a new set of sleeves and make it completely difficult for the naked eye to capture. But if you did notice, when I took these 2 cards out, there was a slight difference. Now, what was that difference? The difference was that one card was sleeved deep into the outer sleeve and one card is not. So for example, if we compare, you know, a few more cards here. These 2 cards. You know, honestly, when you put them together, you don't really notice it. But I can tell you that because this card has a little bit of space left over, this is a trigger. And because this card doesn't have a little bit of space over, it is not a trigger. Right? And this is not a trigger. And this is a trigger. Look at this little extra space. So that's basically the trick. Is it a really dumb trick? It is. Did you notice it? Like the video if you didn't notice it. And you learned something, and it's something else that you should be aware of. If you did notice it, then, you know, props to you. I found it really difficult to you know, notice it myself when I encountered this, or what I believe is this trick the first time around. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is, you know, I guess a more quote unquote finesse, I hope to believe, with my limited knowledge in, you know, some tricks here and there, but you know, there are so many cheats out there that people use. You know, weighted dies. You know, oh yeah, you use your die, I use my die, even though the event just gave us, you know, a free die. No, I want to use my own because it looks cool. But you know, roll sixes every single time. You know, sure. Another one would be literally just bending cards. You know, like why don't treat your cards like that? You know, even if they're just triggers. And it's really obvious because the card deck goes like this high. Like, you know, imagine if you bend cards, right? Like, you know, usually cards are like this, but cards get up to here, and you're like, you know, it can topple down any moment. I know the next card's a trigger, but you know, people won't take action to it. You know, people just, you know, pack up their stuff and leave, and then you can't, you know, prove anything. Unless, you know, I'd say this is more gray area. A smarter way to cheat, if you are considering it, is foiling. You know, at a certain point in Vanguard's, you know, game, you could basically complete a deck with all foils, and you know, foils naturally bend. And if you choose to play, you know, triggers that are not foils, that don't naturally bend, then you know, you could technically make it a fair way of trigger stacking your deck. Right? Do I condone that? No. Unfortunately, this is more of a business decision by Bushi. They want to print, you know, foil triggers. They want to make money out of that. So that's up to them. But anyways, I guess this is just a really short, you know, a very controversial opinion piece, in my opinion, that Bushi should take more action. Players should be more aware, and let's not let people get away with cheating. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.